So hi everyone, our topic today is the changes that occur during freezing and frozen storage, also their protective treatments. So I'll start by explaining the process about what happens during freezing. Fish begins to spoil immediately after death. This is reflected in their gradual developments of undesirable flavors, also with the softening of flesh and eventually with the losses of fluids containing protein and fat. Rigor mortis is a process that happens over a period of hours or days as soon as the death occurs. It can have a bearing or on handling and also processing. In some species, the reaction can be strong, especially if the fishes have not been chilled. The muscles under strong strain tend to contract, and therefore some of the tissue may break, especially if the fish is roughly handled, leaving the flesh broken and also falling apart in some cases. If the muscles are cut before or during rigor, they will contract, and in this way fillets from the fish can shrink and acquire a somewhat rubbery texture. In many species, however, rigor mortis is not strong enough and to be much of significance. Now, let's explain about what happens during freezing. Fish is largely composed of water. It's normally ranging from 60 to 80%, depending on the species and the freezing process that converts most of this water into ice. The freezing process requires removal of heat, and fish from which heat is removed and falls in temperature in the manner shown as to what below 0 degrees Celsius. The second stage in what the term of the bulk of the water is converted to ice by temperature changes, and this stage is known as the period of thermal arrest. When about 55% of the water is turned into ice, the temperature again begins to fall rapidly, and during this third stage, most of the remaining water freezes. Now, let's go about our topic, that is the freezing of fish muscle. The percentage of water frozen at different temperatures on which based are the first. At first, it was thought that the rapid freezing was unsatisfactory and sudden cooling could disrupt or tear the muscle tissues. It was also thought that since water expands on freezing, it might cause an reasonable to cause. For some time, a widely held view was that slow freezing resulted in formation of large ice crystals which damaged the walls of the cells. This would then result in considerable loss of fluid when the fish was thawed. The smaller ice crystals formed when the fish is frozen quickly were thought to do little damage to the cell walls, and as a result, the little fluid that was present would begin to lose on thawing. Difference in size of the ice crystals probably accounts for some of the differences between slow and quick freezing. The larger the walls of the fish muscles cells are sufficiently elastic to accommodate the larger ice crystals without excessive damage. Also, most of the water in fish is bound to be the protein in the form of gel, and little fluid would be lost even if the damage of above nature did occur.
Hello, so the further topic will be explained by me. What is quick freezing? There is no widely accepted definition of quick freezing. It's unlikely that even a trained taste panel could detect the difference between fish frozen in 1 hour and 8 hours. But once freezing time begins to extend beyond 12 hours, the difference may well become apparent. Freezing time of up to 24 hours or even longer achieved in some badly designed and operated freezers will almost certainly result in an inferior product. Very long freezing time, for example, due to freezing fish by bulk stacking in a cold store, may even result in spoilage by bacterial and action before the middle of the stack is sufficiently reduced in temperature. Since the temperature just below 0 degrees Celsius is critical zone for spoilage by protein denaturation, an early UK definition of quick freezing recommended that all fish should be reduced from a temperature of 0 degrees Celsius to minus 0 degrees Celsius in less than 2 or less hours. This fish should then be further reduced in temperature so that its average temperature at the end of freezing process is equivalent to recommended storage temperature of minus 30 degrees Celsius. With normal freezing practice in UK, this later requirement is defined by stating that the warmest part of the fish is reduced to minus 20 degrees Celsius at the completion of freezing. When this temperature is reached, the coldest part of the fish will be at or near the infringement temperature of say minus 35 degrees Celsius, and average temperature will be then near to minus 30 degrees Celsius. This is a rather elaborate definition of quick freezing, and it's probably more strict than it's necessary to ensure a good quality product. So now I will explain double freezing. Double freezing means freezing is a product thawing or partly thawing it and refreezing. This practice is often necessary for production of some frozen fish product made from fish previously frozen and stored in bulk. What must be remembered is that even quick freezing results in quality changes in the fish, and double freezing will therefore result in further changes. Only fish that were initially very fresh could therefore be subjected to double freezing and still conform to good quality standards. Fish frozen quickly at the sea immediately after catching, for instance, would be the suitable for this purpose.
Hello guys, the topic for today is frozen fish. Freezing and frozen storage of fish can give a storage life of more than 1 year if properly carried out. It has enabled fishing vessels to remain at sea for long periods and allowed the stockpiling of fish during periods of good fishing and high catching rates, as well as widen the market for fish products of high quality. The mechanism by which frozen fish deteriorates is somewhat different from that causing spoilage of chilled fish, provided the temperature is low enough below minus 10 degrees Celsius. Bacterial action will be stopped by freezing processes. Chemical, biochemical and physical processes leading to irreversible changes will still occur, but at a very slow rate. Deterioration during frozen storage is inevitable, and in order to obtain satisfactory results, fish for freezing must be of good quality. The protein changes in fish frozen under poor condition can be recognized in thawed fish. The normally bright, firm and elastic product become dull and spongy. The flesh will tend to sag and break, and there will be substantial loss of fluid which can be squeezed out easily. When cooked, the fish will be dry and fibrous. The rate at which protein denaturation takes place in frozen fish depends largely on the temperature and will slow down as the temperature is reduced. Changes taking place in the lipids of frozen fish will also slow down when the temperature is reduced. The oxidation of the fat leads to objectionable flavors and odors. This can be particularly serious in fish of high fat content and probably also accounts for most of the flavor changes in lean fish. Some substances, notably salt, and some processes such as drying can aggravate the problems. Smoked fish, for example, has a shorter storage life in frozen condition than the raw. The addition of chemicals to prevent oxidation has not been successful except for some special types of products. The rate of oxidation can be reduced by reducing the exposure to oxygen. This can be achieved by introducing a barrier at the surface of the fish. Thus, fish in a block keep better than fish frozen individually, and the addition of an ice glaze is beneficial.
Hello guys, so further topic will be explained by me. As soon as fish are removed from freezer, they should be glazed or wrapped unless they have been packed before freezing and immediately transferred to a low temperature store. When it is known that storage will be for a short period only, glazing or wrapping may not be necessary or practical. Blocks of whole cod frozen at sea are usually transferred to the ship's cold store without protective wrapper or glaze, but this may be added later. Prior to long-term storage on shore, during relatively short terms of storage, fish without a protective wrapper or glaze can be severely dehydrated in a poorly designed or operated store. Now, glazing. The application of a layer of ice to the surface of a frozen product by spraying, brushing on water or by dipping is widely used to protect the product from the effects of dehydration and oxidation. During cold storage, the ice layer sublimes rather than the fish below, and it also excludes air from the surface of the fish and thereby reduces the rate of oxidation. Heat added by the glazing process is often considerable, and the fish may require to be recooled in a freezer before being transferred to the cold store. In order to form a complete and uniform glaze on the surface of the fish, the glazing process requires to be closely controlled. The amount of glaze applied depends on the following factors. They are glazing time, fish temperature, water temperature, product size and product shape. Now, glazing by dipping in a container of water is not recommended. The initial temperature of the water may be relatively high. This is reduced as glazing proceeds and the thickness of glaze will therefore vary. The glaze on IQF fillets has been shown to vary between 2 and 20% using this method. Even when the immersion time was kept constant, in practice the time will not be constant and this will give rise to even greater inconsistency. The water will also become contaminated after some time. Therefore, this method is not recommended. If a dipping method is used to apply a glaze, the container should be continuously supplied with chilled water and fitted with an overflow. Spraying glazing methods are suitable, but again it is difficult to obtain a completely uniform glaze, and it may be necessary to invert the fish to ensure that all surfaces are treated. The glazer shown in figure 26 has a number of features which enable complete uniform glaze to be applied. Number 1. A constant speed belt will ensure a fixed time in a glazing zone. Number 2. The overhead and underside spray provide a constant supply of chilled makeup water and glazes both the upper and lower surface of the product. Number 3. The double belt arrangement forces fish to invert, providing an even glaze. The adjustable baffle may be used to rearrange overlapping fish on the belt so that each fish is totally exposed. Now, glazing when the fish is surface temperature is at minus 70 degrees Celsius or lower. Example, immediately after cryogenic freezing results in a glaze which is fractured and broken due to thermal stress during the formation of the ice. This glaze is easily dislodged during subsequent handling. If the fish are immersed in the glaze water for too long, a thick glaze is formed, but the equilibrium temperature of fish and ice is high and only slightly below 0 degrees Celsius. This glaze will be soft and easily dislodged during subsequent handling. Now, good glazing practice can be beneficial, particularly when other aspects of storage and transport are far from ideal. But poor glazing involving partial thawing of the fish and slow refreezing in cold storage may do more harm than good. Thank you.